On the next Plastic Surgery Uncensored with Dr. Roddy Raban, board certified plastic surgeon, we are actually going to have, I'm going to say it, a male body celebrity. We've had some very attractive chicks and it's been all about, girl stuff, but we have Tony Horton, founder
He's in the house.
Yeah, Tony Horton,
Where?
Beachbody,
I've heard of this
P90X.
guy. I hear he's a hack.
I've been looking at his exploding veins for 15 years of my life. I'm very excited about
Still
this.
Exploding.
Yeah, no, they're fantastic veins. So please listen to the next episode of Plastic Surgery Uncensored. Thank you for tuning in to this very comprehensive and exciting episode of Plastic Surgery Uncensored. Your host is, of course, board certified Beverly Hills plastic surgeon, Dr. Roddy Raban, but our guest is P90X Tony Horton. Like that, where you're gonna that guy? Because a lot of people don't know your name. They just know you as
The P90X guy.
Yeah.
I walk to the airport and go, oh, P90X guy. They don't know who I am. You're right.
Yeah, but Tony Horton. When he said, "Do you know Tony Horton?" I thought you were a famous black woman. I didn't know who you were until he said the P90X. I'm like, that guy.
That guy.
Tony, we're happy to have you, buddy.
Roddy, good to be here, my man.
Thank you so much for
How
coming.
may I help you? How can I assist you? What do you need from me?
So Tony and I go way back. We're buddies. We go way back, and so I'm honored that he is willing to come here and hang out with us for a little while. Why Tony is so helpful and why I'm excited to have him is because on the segments we're always trying to give people transparency and information, not just about plastic surgery, but about lifestyle in which plastic surgery tends to revolve around. And so obviously health, fitness, we had Molly Sims here who was speaking sort of towards moms, but just in general, we had a registered dietitian that was here, but all of it plays into the same thing. If a person can live their life in a way in which they avoid me altogether, that would be awesome. The reality is that there's plenty of problems that you can't work out, you can't eat right or avoid. You can't fix your nose if it's not the way you like. If you had breastfed 3 children and your breasts have deflated, you can't change that. If your ears are prominent. But there are certain things that eating right, exercising, and taking care of yourself can be the difference between seeing or not seeing a plastic surgeon or having a better result as a result of plastic surgery. So when I spoke to you, remember I told you one of my biggest challenges and where I think you would be so helpful is I often see patients and I say it over and over again, which I see them and I say, listen, at your current weight, you'll have a good result. But if you could lose just 10, 15 pounds, you'll have an amazing result. And usually when I say that to them, they're looking at me like I landed from Mars because most people, it's almost easier to lose 100 pounds than it is to lose that 15, 20 pounds where you're stuck. And so what we'd love for you to do is help us and guide us in maybe giving people some take-home messages, things that, the reality is everybody knows this stuff, but they need it here from somebody.
No, they really don't.
No, you know what I mean. Like,
Some do, but most don't.
Nevertheless, take it away. So tell me first of all, how are you and tell me what's going on.
I am well. Thank you very much. I worked out for about 4 hours this morning, because I'm 61 and I want to live to be about 101. And after that, who cares? So
yes,
honestly.
exactly.
But I'm good. Life is good. I feel great.
What have you been up to? What are you working on now?
I got a new supplement line coming out in first quarter of 2020 called Power Life. Really fired up about that.
And where do people get that Power Life?
Well, you'll see it advertised all over the place. You'll be able to get it on Amazon and various places, on my website at TonyHortonLife.com. First plug of the interview. Thank you very much. And then after, what else? We've got the Next Level, which is a workout series with Guy MTV Fit and Yoga. So I'm still an ambassador for Beachbody. I still do a lot of their events. We're not making any content right now.
So you were the originator, because for some people don't know, P90X, explain it for people, because it's important for some background here.
Right.
So P90X is like, I think it revolutionized sort of TV exercise things. You had Richard Simmons and Jane Fonda and all that stuff. But I think this was a next level. So tell us what P90X was and where it went.
1999, I started working with a company called Beachbody, brand new, small little
Was that long ago?
Yeah, 99.
Yes, it's been a long time.
And we did something called Great Body Guaranteed, and it worked, which in our industry is very difficult, especially when you're trying to sell something via infomercial, right? Of course. So, when something does well, okay, what's our next project? So we did sort of P90X Lite called Power 90, which was 6 days of working out and eating properly. It was really that simple. And then we thought, okay, well, that worked too. And we're 2 for 2, which is kind of a miracle. So we Said, what should we do? Maybe something for folks who are struggling with their weight or something for older folks. No, let's just go extreme. So we did P90X, which is 90 days of 6 days a week of hour-long workouts, hour and a half, hot the flow routine, and eating clean. And, most people looked at that and said, holy crap, that just seems like too much. But a vast majority of people saw that on television and said, that looks real. They're not trying to, pull one over on me. That looks like, okay, I want to give that a try. It looks really interesting. And, we sold 11 million copies, somewhere in the range. I mean, about 7. The rest were pirated out of China, but whatever, that's a different story. But a lot of people got a hold of them, and they did really well, and they lost a whole bunch of weight. And, segueing into what we're talking about, I met hundreds, dozens, lots of people said, I was going to get gastric bypass surgery, or I was going to get, liposuction, or all these different things. And I discovered after working out really hard that, some of them still did, but what we're here to talk about is the fact that if you go in to any kind of surgery, because, I've torn my bicep tendon, I've shattered my kneecap, I've, broken my leg, and I've had other kinds of injuries. And as a result of being super fit before I, have to go into surgery, my heal time was cut in half. So not only are you going to have a better result as a result of, taking care of yourself, losing 5, 10, 15 pounds, which is not as really as difficult as losing 100, because that takes a whole lot more time, a lot more commitment, but just eating right, exercising, getting your cardiovascular system moving, teaching your body how to heal. Because that's what happens when I worked out this morning. What did I do? I tore my muscles apart. I extended my ligaments and my muscles, and that soreness that you feel is your body healing again. So my body is in a constant state of repair. And so that's why at 61 years old, I can physically do things I couldn't do in my 20s and 30s, because I like to push the edge of the envelope. So if you're somebody who's going into surgery, whether it's a bicep tendon tear or somebody who's, having breast augmentation or having their nose taken care of or whatever it is, you want to go in as healthy as you can go in. You know what I mean? You want to be
Absolutely.
able to, because not only, like you said, you'll get a better result, but your heal time will be quicker. You probably won't need the pain medications to the extent that a lot of other people do if they don't take care of themselves.
No, and I think that's absolutely true. And, there's different elements of it. One is the internal, one is the external. So, like you said, sometimes you can avoid it. Sometimes you lose enough weight and you get in enough shape. You're like, wow, I really feel happy with the way I am. Awesome. Check. You just bypassed your doctor, plastic surgeon. Awesome. Another instance is that you're bound to have surgery because you have loose skin or all these other things.
I was gonna
but
say
you
that.
want to get into a shape where the result is going to be out of the park. And so these, I, to the best of my ability, try to give them some guidance, because I break it down into my own basics, which is it's what you eat, how much of it you eat, and when you eat it. And it's 80% food and 20% exercise. And that's been my mantra, because at the end of the day, as a doctor, even though I'm a plastic surgeon, I'm not a nutritionist, I'm not a trainer, I still am responsible for these people. I'm not just like, you show up, I operate on you, you go away. I feel like I'm part of that journey. So let's break it down into a couple of things. So let's say, I don't know if you agree, it's 80-20 nutrition exercise. Maybe you have your own formula.
He's a fitness guy. He's going to say it's...
No, but he wouldn't be where he is if his nutrition wasn't as clean as it is.
100%. I'm writing a book. And the working title is called Food First.
See? Food first. See, I didn't even know that.
You are what you eat. Jack LaLanne is a guy's, he lived to
Love
be
Jack
96. He was an amazing individual. He was fit as a fiddle. But his whole thing was about supplementation and diet first. Because, it's a physical, mental, and emotional equation whenever you exercise. And if you're eating crap food and assuming that your exercise is going to help, equal things out or improve the quality of your situation, then you're just fooling yourself. So, you want to eat fruits, vegetables, whole grains, lean proteins, healthy fats, whether you're paleo or keto or vegan or vegetarian or flexitarian or whatever the heck you are. It's got to be mostly plant-based. It's got to be whole foods. So you got to stay away from the factory food, the processed food, the things that come in bottles, boxes, cans, and bags as much as possible. And you want to be able to look down at your plate and recognize, the same kind of food that your great-great-grandparents used to eat. If you can do that, you know what I mean? And nobody's asking you to lift a finger, right? Nobody's asking you to do a single push-up or a single pull-up. But if you can start there, get your weight down, you know what I mean? And then begin to move a little bit. Go for walks or something really simple, just to get the blood flow. Because that oxygen that comes into your body, that goes into your brain, into your hippocampus, your dentate gyrus, right? That oxygenated blood that goes through your body, goes through everything, goes through your muscles and your tendons and your ligaments and your heart, your lungs and your kidneys and all of it. And so when you go into surgery, you're just going to heal faster and you're going to have a better result as a result of your behavior before you went in. I think a lot of people probably come to you, and you and I have had these discussions, is they just come in, 30, 40, 50 pounds overweight, and they have these unrealistic expectations, and you look at them and go, geez, would you mind, if you lost some weight, we could really make some amazing, and they look at you like you're, what?
Why would
me.
Why would I come to you if I was going to lose the weight on my own? And so those people are obviously not fixable.
Or why would you come to me and do the exercise and not bother with the food part?
Right. So I tried to, and that's exactly what we've been hammering home. It's like, wow, this is a plastic surgery podcast. The last thing I want to hear about is diet and nutrition, goddammit. I just want to hear about how you cut the fat out and whatever. But that's not the case. I can't do it. Right. And people say, oh, I love your results. Are so amazing. It's because I'm a very, very skilled batter. So the analogy I use is a batter is only as good as his batting average. Okay? And your batting average is 100% related to what pitches you swing at. If I swing at every single pitch and I hit 100 out of 1,000 balls over, my batting average would be horrendous. Whereas if I swung at 200 and I hit 100 over the park, my batting average would be outstanding, yet I hit the same number of balls. So where my practice has evolved.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
Right? Where my practice
He's doing math
evolved
on the fly.
is my practice evolved in that when people come in, I'm very careful not to operate on you because I know that no matter what I do, at the end, you'll be at best an average or mediocre result.
Right.
The problem is getting people to be motivated and excited to help themselves allow me to help you. And so when you're 200 pounds overweight or 100 pounds overweight, that's its own journey and that's worthy and need to do. I'm talking about the people that are almost there. Tony, they're like literally they come in. I said, listen,
I can see it.
I can see the finish line. I can see the new you. I need your help. You must walk. Oh, I can take you. I'll take you to the 25th mile. You got to walk the last mile of this marathon. Mm-hmm. And it's about getting there. But then the reason why it's so important is because then I need you to maintain it. So you come in, you do this plastic surgery, and there are hundreds of such scenarios. You do this plastic surgery, whether it's lipo or cutting out or whatever. And then all of a sudden, 6 months, a year later, you look the same, worse maybe. And why? Well, whatever hell you were doing, you're still doing. You're not eating well. You eat late. You binge eat. You eat out of Pringles, whatever it is.
Barbecue potato
Pringles.
chips.
Please no.
I brought Pringles in because I'm sure my wife is listening. Kettle is at least better than Pringles. Pringles are not. You know that Pringles are chips, not potato chips, because they're not even potatoes.
They're not even really food.
Yeah, that's why you can find them at anywhere in the world.
Yes.
At any moment. Okay, let's get into like real basics. So what do you eat? What does Tony Horton, what did you eat for breakfast?
Well, I got this multi-grain, it's not even, I don't want to call it oatmeal. It's sort of this multi-grain cereal with seeds and nuts and oats and things like that.
Where do you get it?
I can get it at Trader Joe's. I can get it at Whole Foods. I can get it at...
You don't grow it in your house.
I don't grow it in my house. It comes in a bag.
Okay.
But, I flip everything over and I read everything. So I get my blood work done every 6 months and I have it all checked out. And, whether it's testosterone or my hormones or it's estrogen or whatever, all these different levels that tell me I'm a healthy man, right? And so they take 12 vials of blood out of me. And so... that my nutritionist, endocrinologist can look at that panel and say, oh, your vitamin C is off, your vitamin D is off, or we're going to put you on some CoQ10. You know what I mean? You probably want to, you don't need that multivitamin anymore. We'll take you off of that. But we need to get you on maybe off of whey protein and get you on a plant-based protein.
So who is this person now? Because I think what we're getting at. So look, everyone listen carefully. Tony Horton, who is in and of himself, like he could be your world's greatest coach, has a coach. He himself has people who help him and modulate him and guide him, whether he said nutritionist, endocrinologist. So again, everybody needs a team to help them through to the other line. So who's this person that you're seeing?
Her name is Heather Fitzgerald. She's right here in Los Angeles.
And it doesn't matter who specifically, but what does she do for you? She helps tweak she
helps me, tweak my nutrition because, I had Ramsay-Hunt syndrome a while back, so it's basically shingles in your ear and it affects the 5th, 6th, and 7th nerves of your face. So I had Bell's palsy for a while. I went through about a year and a half of pure hell. And so, a lot of people who have what I had don't fully recover. And I'm still not fully recovered, but I can pretty much fake it for the most part. I have stability issues. I have something called bilateral vestibular hypofunction now, also in conjunction with Epstein-Barr. It's awesome.
Yes.
But a lot of people
what
don't
that
want to
is.
don't want to train their ass off. They don't want to do all the rehab balance work, and they just keep doing what they were doing. Now they have this disorder that affects their balance and their their adrenal glands, and their cortisol levels are through the roof, and there's all these different things. But they keep behaving the way they used to behave. So this thing that is manageable, kind of like what we're talking about, becomes the bane of their existence, which is sort of a bummer when it doesn't have to be. So, not to say that health and wellness and fitness and exercise and a good diet cures everything, but I have met hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people who have said, I was a mess, I was an alcoholic, I was a drug addict, I was 100 pounds overweight, and I just did your thing, and I am not anymore. I get letters and notes and emails all the time. This guy was he was an athlete as a kid, full-blown alcoholic drug addict. He was going methadone while still doing blow at the same time.
Wow. That's
Got in with a
commitment.
really bad crowd, blew up to 265 pounds. The guy was my height, 5'10", 5'10 and a half. And then he got out of that crowd. He was hanging out with this girl. Have you ever tried P90X? And he said, well, I know that stuff on TV is crap. And then that first routine, which is chest and back, 24 sets of pull-ups and push-ups, he just said, I'm in. He dropped all his weight. He got off the cocaine, got off the methadone, left that girl wasn't his wife, but he met a new gal, got a great job, has 2 kids, and he's still fit. And that was 15 years ago.
Right. So but
that doesn't answer what I eat.
But it's natural to go from that to that, which is that's what we're trying to, that empowerment, that potential for change. It all begins from one step. The one step is, what do you eat? Because you are what you eat. That's why you're writing that book. And the reality is people struggle at the first step. When you are an alcoholic, methadone, blah, 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 it's hundreds and hundreds of miles away from home. Sure. And so what you want to know is, okay, just turn me in the direction I need to start walking at least, because I don't know if I should walk north, south, east, or west. And so the first thing to do is say, what do you eat? So breakfast, you eat this whole grain. What did you have? What do you eat for lunch? On average, give me some of your lunch.
Well, a lot of salads, a lot of, fruit in between as snacks, a lot of seeds and nuts and things like that for snacks. Some days I'm a grazer, and then some days I'm eating 3 meals a day. I don't have any sort of set
I understand.
pattern on the food. I mean, it's fruits, vegetables, whole grains, lean proteins, healthy fats. For lunch today, Shauna, my wife, made this turkey curry. So she took a turkey, put it in the oven, cooked it, broke it all down, put it in a massive pot, and just jammed it with vegetables and put curry powder and all kinds of spices and things. And it's in 3 containers in the refrigerator that I live off of for a couple of days.
Okay, so meal prep is another thing that people don't seem to understand.
Well, yeah.
So
I don't eat at fast food joints. When I go to restaurants, I'm very particular about what it is, and I'll go to the waiter and I'll say, especially if it's a steak joint, and it's really hard for me to find something to eat. I have set rules on what I eat and what I don't eat. Coca-Cola might as well be crack cocaine to me. I'm not going to drink that. I don't need dairy in my diet. I don't need, soy and corn and all these.
So let's go
fillers
through
and
these
stuff.
things. So I'm going to take them one by one. Do you eat dairy?
I avoid it like the plague. I just don't really need it because it creates a lot of
Inflammation.
Well,
this is I don't want to say it's controversial anymore because I think it's pretty well studied. Certain foods, humans were not really, really designed to eat. Now, the fact that you can eat it and you love it and you get away with it is perfectly fine. But we know, because there are people that are completely lactose intolerant, we were never really designed to drink the milk of another animal. So that makes sense when you really think about it. So dairy creates inflammation and phlegm and allergies. A lot of children have eczema.
And me on those, yeah, for sure.
Okay, so that takes care of that. What do you do in the red meat category?
I'll eat red meat 2, 3, maybe 4 times a month.
Okay, so the
once
average
a week,
is once a week, as they say, is reasonable.
Grass-fed bison and elk. What I
Okay.
mean? Elk is the super lean stuff. Just as sort of a treat. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I live in the turkey, chicken. I'm not doing any eggs. I'm having I'm in the middle of a cleanse. So no soy, no corn, no dairy, no eggs, no spinach. My body's reacting to spinach. No onions.
And so
The list goes on.
This list
walnuts.
This list was created by your nutritionist lady.
This was another organization. My friend Tammy Murphy works with this company, this wellness company, where they check for markers. They take your blood and they spin it and you send it off to the lab, and you get all these markers on inflammation, basically. And so this big laundry list of food came up. So it's pretty no gluten, so no more bread. I mean, I go to the grocery.
Ding, 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 ding.
Gluten, thank you.
I've been having gluten for about 5 years. Every time I cheat on gluten. So everyone's like, what is this gluten thing? So let's begin by let's talk about diets in general and fads and whether they work or they're not. So we had a registered dietitian here. And I think this is the deal that with diet works. There is no question that each person's biology will dictate what works for them. And they came up with the book, the blood type diet. It doesn't really matter what you call it, but the reality is that maybe Monique can
Eat right for your blood type.
Monique can maybe have red meat and digest it well. I can't eat any red meat and I can't digest it, hypothetically. So that's, I know for sure. I have a lot of autoimmune problems, and I've had them since I was a child. So autoimmune. I was like, what the hell is all this stuff? I didn't know what it is, and it's gotten worse and worse, as most things do. And I kind of eventually narrowed it down that inflammatory foods, and the biggest one for me was gluten. When I ate them, I would have all kinds of issues, such as mouth sores and canker sores is the way I present. And so anytime I cheat, because it's natural to have it's all about
I've
discipline.
had a rough day, you know what I mean?
It's
I'm
about
tired.
discipline.
Let me
Or
have
I was
piece of toast.
I was in Bora Bora, for example, on my honeymoon, and it's one of those times where you're like, F it, and I ate a bunch of croissants because they were like unbelievable. They were just
Croissants
I mean,
are good.
Buttery,
I mean, I was having like
flaky.
I'm not gonna lie, I was having like
Stop!
three a day. I was stealing.
You had 3 croissants
I
a
was
day?
stealing them, wrapping them up.
People are watching like,
Like
what,
method.
you think they were like, popping pills or something?
No, but I was
or
wrapping them.
smoking-
This is so Beverly. I was wrapping. No, I was wrapping them up in
Like old
napkins and
lady.
taking them like when I went scuba diving
Soup
or whatever. I would just
plantation.
open them up and just eat them with jam. Anyways, I paid the price, the ultimate price. I had like 4 canker sores. I struggled for 2 weeks. But the point being is that each person needs to identify the items and they need to pay attention to their body. And Tony does it. I do it. Molly Sims, who came here, does it to register. Everyone will tell you the same thing. It's called being aware. And awareness is, God damn it, every time I eat those peanuts,
I know.
I get this weird blah, blah, blah. Let's cut out peanuts. And so there's no, Tony has access to these labs, for example. Maybe if you don't have the labs, I did it all just by trial and error. But the point of the fact is that you can't just globally delete things. And some things are globally deletable. Soy is pretty unarguably very bad for you. It's it's been established. It's highly inflammatory.
Yeah.
Gluten, for example, is not ideal. Lactose, not ideal. So
Corn.
Corn is another one.
Can be a real problem for people, and it's in everything. Soy and corn and wheat are in everything. I can't eat them, right? And here's what's crazy. I was thinking about
Gotta
this
read
when
labels.
I mean, really, you have to.
And people don't want to do it because it's bad news.
Here's all my favorite food. I have to cut them all out.
I don't do corn syrup.
But here's what happens: the weight starts to fall off. You start to have a ton of energy. Your sex drive improves. You sleep better. And so these are things that people want.
Monique only gave nothing you just said she gave a shit about. She didn't care about weight loss. She didn't care about energy. She didn't care about sleeping. She's just sex drive. Ding, ding, ding. What did you say? Don't eat? I'm cutting out everything that's got.
I'm going to move over slightly. I am.
No, you're good. You're good. You're
He's
good.
on fire.
So listen to this. So after I've been through all this stuff, and I'm going through this cleanse, whatever you want to call it.
How long is it going to go?
It's a 3-month thing.
Okay.
I got to do it for 3 months, man. But then again, hey, man, they're going to come and go anyway. And discipline's my middle name. I'm not worried about that. So here's what's crazy. Prior to the cleanse, I was talking to some friends, and you're going to love this. And just some buddies, we were working out. There's like 8 of us. And I said, let me ask you something. How many mornings do you wake up with no pain, a ton of energy, and in a great mood? How often? Like,
Every day
boom,
for me.
10%.
You're a freak from outer space.
No, I'm serious. No, I'm a
Yeah.
comedian.
Well,
I
no-
have no stress in my life. I make people happy every day.
That's great.
I would say 10%.
I would say for me, prior, 4.
Yeah.
4, like, once in a blue moon. When the moon, when there were 2 full moons in a month, I would have that feeling. But most of the time, I wake up in incredible pain. I'm kind of ornery, and I feel zapped like I want to sleep an extra hour. Since I started the cleanse, I'm only 10 days into it. I woke up this morning, and I went, oh, I don't have any pain. Man, let's do a bunch of laundry and clean up and do some things and make phone calls and whatever. I had all 3 of those for the first time in months and months and months.
So a cleanse would then, for people listening,
For me,
a
that
cleanse
works.
would be eliminating more aggressively with more discipline the things that you or someone else has identified as causing you inflammation or irritation. That's what a
nobody
cleanse
needs
means.
soft drinks. Nobody needs trans fats. Nobody needs corn syrup. I went to a nutritionist years ago and just started reading, and I was like, 50% of the things that I love in life deeply, I had to say goodbye to.
Yeah.
Because
So
they had
we're-
those ingredients.
So this is what I want to do. We're going to take a break here. Then I want to come back. We touched a lot about diet. I want to flip gears, and I'd like to talk the second half about the exercise part.
got
Not everybody is going to be. I used to go to Tony's classes. I'll be the first to admit.
He teaches classes?
No, he teaches he works out, and he allows a small set of people that I was honored to be a part of for a short period of time.
So you're bragging again.
No, I'm not bragging.
Close you
I
guys
still put him
are.
on the invite list.
No, let me
too.
tell you what I'm about to tell you. He works out, and he allows people to work out with him. And by working out with him, you're working out with Tony Horton. But you have to be able to keep up. So the long and short of it is I did it for a very finite amount of time, and now I don't do it. But he tried to delete me off the list because he figured I don't come, and I got upset. So I wanted to be on the list, even though I don't come. So the second half, we want to talk about what people like me, regular people, can do to be in shape.
People that can't keep up with Tony Horton.
Not that keep up with
Here's
Tony
the thing.
Horton. Wait, save it. We're going to do the second half.
All right.
Okay, I'll save it.
Thank you for listening to that segment. That was with Tony Horton of Plastic Surgery Uncensored. Please keep listening. We're going to come back with the second half of that. And we're back with the second half of Plastic Surgery Uncensored. Your host, Dr. Roddy Raban, board certified plastic surgeon right here in Beverly Hills. And our special guest, and this is really exciting to me.
Oh.
It is, because like I
She was.
actually
She was very
did
excited.
it. I was stoked.
I put my pants on a backflip like everybody else.
No. She was very excited.
No,
That's
I
true.
was. P90X. That guy, actually, his name's Tony Horton. That's his actual real name.
Tony
Horton.
Yes.
All right.
Roddy.
So the first segment was about diet related stuff. And I think we, in a little quick summary, was number one, don't eat like shit. Number two,
Eat better. Eat stuff that your
Find out.
great grandparents would
right.
recognize.
Number two,
From the garden.
Number two, detox by finding what things really listen to your body and see what things are causing you some irritation.
And get some blood work if
inflammation.
you can. If you're in an area where that's something you want to do, these are things that tell you very specifically, where you're short, where you aren't. And then if you've got somebody who you trust, an endocrinologist or a nutritionist, just do what they say because they're an expert. And if you do, you're going to feel a whole lot better, lose the weight. So when they come see you, you don't have to work 10 times
and
as hard.
and the final point is that even Tony Horton has people on his team, and so I think that's really important to create a team approach. Now, shifting gears, we want to talk about the second half of this proposition, right? The goal is I'm almost there. I'm almost ready to not have to have surgery, or I'm almost ready to have surgery and I want to have the best outcome. It doesn't matter what the reason is. I'd like to lose the last 10 to 15 pounds. And so we talked about the diet half. Now we're going to talk about the exercise half. So let's talk about what the average person can do other than P90X. What are the steps, the basic, let's say 5 things that you would say to someone who's an average blue collar person, getting up in the morning, going to work, coming home and just struggling, but they want to lose the 10 to 15 pounds. Exercise wise, what are the things that they need to know?
Here's some backstory first.
Okay.
Fitness is not just a physical thing. It's a mental and emotional thing. Most people, not most, but quite often, a lot of people who want to lose weight want to do it for aesthetic reasons. They want the numbers on the scale to go down. They want the numbers on the tape measure to go down. They want their numbers on their dress sizes to go down. And they want other people to say nice things about them based on their hard work because their ego is running the show. Now, let's assume all that is bullshit, because it is, because it's not sustainable over time. It's maybe sustainable for young kids because they're trying to hook up or they're walking the, everybody wants to look good because when they're younger. But as you get older and you have a family and you have kids and blah, 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 you need a new reason why. You need a new purpose. And your purpose should be a physical, mental, and emotional thing that changes during the workout and immediately after. Because who you are before the workout and who you are after the workout are two different people. Because you're moving and grooving and punching and kicking and squatting and lunging and pull-ups. So this oxygen goes into your brain, into your hippocampus, into your dentate gyrus, which is this little thing inside your temporal lobe, and it lights up like a friggin' firecracker because molecules and proteins are vibrating and coming together and improving your sex life, improving your memory, improving your cognition, improving the glass is half full when it used to be half empty. It's instantaneous as a result of you moving your ass. If you struggle from stress and depression and anxiety, move your ass because it's going to change purely based on the brain chemistry that happens from you moving.
Very true.
Next, here, the key is to be successful, right? Is to figure this thing out, make it who you are, because most people are surviving. They're going to work, they're doing their thing, they're going to job, and they're stressed out and whatever. They're not, they're just getting by. They're paying their bills. I want to thrive because my trip on planet Earth is so freaking short. So here's what I do. My purpose is because I want to feel good. I want to look good, but I want to have the energy. I want my brain to function. I want to be able to remember things as I get into my 60s, 70s, and 80s. I want to be sharp. I want to maintain my sense of humor. I want to just be a well-functioning person. And I also know that if I don't work out, consistently, like I do everything else, I eat consistently, I sleep consistently, I go to work consistently. Like you do that every other day, you see how things turn out. Things go to shit, right? So the idea here is if I want to thrive, I have to work out 5 to 6 times a week. I'll give you one day off. I'll give you one. You get to have one. But, then you go for a walk or you play with the kids or something. So what happens is when you do, the more you do, the better you get. And if you're only exercising 2 or 3 times a week, you suffer from exercise bipolar disorder, right? Because you have the highest highs and you have the lowest lows now because this oxygen, it's like, oh, you were taking care of me. Now it's gone. So if your purpose is like, I just want to be a badass human being. Of course I want to lose weight, but I just want to be happy. It's in the Constitution, the pursuit of happiness, right? And that's what exercise provides for you. You also need a plan. You have to have a plan. You can't wing it. If you wake up and you don't know exactly what you're going to do, you don't know exactly what time you're going to do it, 95% of you will not do it. So
accountability is
accountability. So a plan is everything. So you write it down in your own handwriting and you slap it on the back of your bathroom mirror or the back of your front door or on your refrigerator, someplace you're going to see it every day. It's going to stare back at you. When you do those workouts, you make red X's. If you got 22 red X's at the end of the month, boom, you got 25 bonus. You got 15. That means you took 15 days off. So you're like, it's not working because you're not doing it enough, right? So purpose, plan, accountability. How are you going to stay accountable? It goes with plan, right? The plan helps. But I have a tribe. He knows. He's coming to my house. There's 15, 20 people there.
You should be
Today,
coming
there
back.
were 9. Tomorrow, when we do cardio, there's going to be 4. On Wednesday, there's going to be another 4. I have a quiver of people that I rely on to show up at my house. And if they're not there, then guess what I do? I sleep in. I'll watch movies. I'll, whatever.
I don't believe that.
It's true. I am not self-motivated. This is how I get it done.
It's true. It really is true. Even the most. That's yours.
Well, that is inspiring to know that Tony Horton himself
because
needs...
exercise is hard and it sucks. It's painful.
Have you ever had a runner's high?
Yeah, a couple times. I get it
I
yoga,
haven't.
but
No,
never.
listen.
Not
Even
one
the most
time.
excellent of people need accountability because it is natural. It is natural to choose the path of least resistance. No human being is wired for agony and painfulness. So
Some are.
very,
It's like
very few.
Like long distance runners who just get up at the crack of dawn and go run 50 miles. There's 10 of those.
But
people.
most
I'm
people
very
realize
suspicious of them.
Most
I
people
know.
realize that the working out is painful. It's at the time that you do it, you don't love it, but you love it afterwards. I'm going to tell you something. You know what? It's like volunteering. I'll give you a perfect analogy. I volunteer every year. I go to third world countries. People are like, oh, that's amazing. You know what it is? It's a pain in the ass to get up, to give up time off work, to go to these countries, to fly in the planes, to sleep in cots, to eat shitty food, to expose myself to bizarre diseases, to get up early, to stay up late. But you know what? The endorphin, the feeling of good, the fact that I made a difference, all that afterwards pushes me to do it again. The actual act of volunteering is not fun. It's the difference that I make that is fun. The act of working out for most is uncomfortable. The sit-ups hurt, but the endorphins are, so it's one of those things that he's absolutely right, that it's like, he'll tell you he's not loving the agony of his workout, but he has a plan, he has a purpose, he has a plan, and he has accountability. What's the next one?
Variety is another thing. I think the reason why, what we're trying to do here is avoid boredom, injuries, and plateaus. See, these 3 things are happening to people, either all 3 or 2 or 1 of them, but any one of them is going to take you down.
Boredom, injury,
Plateaus. So if you're doing the same spinning class, every Tuesday and then occasionally on a Friday for 6 months, and you're surprised you're not really seeing any change, it's because you're doing the same damn thing over and over and over again. So you want to create as much variety in your fitness as possible. Muscle confusion.
I learned that
It's a
from him.
made-up term that says we're going to throw everything at you. You're going to be a master of none.
It's real. Muscle
but-
confusion is
Thank
real.
you. Thank you. But what it is
I just have confusion. Does that count?
yes, it's general confusion. But it keeps you on your toes.
I agree.
All right. So one day is pushing and pulling. The next day is squatting and lunging. The next day is cardio. The next day is martial arts. You know what I mean? And that way, when you mix it up like that, you're not pounding the same body parts over and over and over again. And so you're avoiding, the boredom that comes with doing the same things over and over again. And then plateaus, like, I can't figure out why I was having initial results. Because if you've done nothing and you just do one thing, of course you're going to see some gains. But eventually your body figures it out. It's like, you either got to turn up the volume or you got to go longer or you got to start doing some new stuff.
Yeah.
And so every program I've ever done, like at my workout today, there were 16 exercises. We only did each one once, and we just kept going from one weird move to another. And so even though these exercises were super hard, I didn't hurt my shoulder or hurt my back or blow out my knee because we were adding all that variety. But then tomorrow is going to be pure cardio.
And what does pure cardio look like?
I have 8 stations in my gym. I do each station for 3 minutes. I go from the bike to the VersaClimber to the heavy bag to the treadmill. The VersaClimber is your favorite thing. To the rower, to the skier, to jump rope, to the slide board. And you know what I mean? It's like, I used to get on the VersaClimber for 50 minutes. No moss. I just don't have the patience for it. And so it's fun. And I invite 4 or 5 guys and we just go around.
No, I like the 4 or 5
That sounds fun.
You know why spin is so popular today?
Why?
Because it's group. It's group.
And the music.
It's the music, but it's the group effect. There's a horde effect. That's why people
Soul
do
Cycle,
mobs.
you got to pedal
That's
at the
why
same
people.
pedal.
That's why people riot. When you're in a group, you do things that you wouldn't otherwise be able to do alone, good and or bad. Tony, when he's with his group,
it's a workout riot.
It's much easier to juice up the energy of everyone. Someone's a little low that day, another guy's a little higher. He pulls you on. You have that group. You have peer pressure of having to. You know what I mean? It all works.
Yeah, it's a friendly competition. Is what it is.
Yeah.
Hey, David, how many feet per minute? Hey, what's your number on your treadmill? Hey, you can, like on the ski machine, where a bunch of us are skiers, and it's easy to dog it on a cardio day, but then, the other guy's yelling across, hey, man, you look like you're slowing down. You know what I mean? And then, our big thing is when we're doing resistance days or hypertrophy type exercises is we'll ask each other how many reps they're going to do. Hey, man, how many reps you going to do? 35. Oh, that's interesting because I'm going to do more than you. You know what I mean? But if I'm in the room by myself, the number is 12 and I'm out. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I'm going to do 12 and no one's around to push me. I'm on to the next exercise.
But that's how
so it is. It's groupthink. It's groupthink. If you've got a great tribe, and I always say, get the naysayers and the sycophants and the finger pointers and the jokers out of your life, man, because they're just dragging you down.
Agreed.
They're just those people, and sometimes they're your husband or your wife or your kids or your aunt or your uncle, and it's not easy. But then, my other thing is ask for what you need. If you've got all this chaff in your life that's just making, your discipline and your willpower and all these things more difficult, a lot of it has to do with the fact that you get the wrong people in your life and you're not asking for what you need. If you can ask for it, hey, you know what? I'm getting a sense that, I don't feel happy when we're having these conversations. I feel like, like I have more potential, but I'm not getting that support from you. So let's make a deal. Either you start to support me in these positive efforts, or we're going to have to call it quits. And I have done that I've made those phone calls and I've had those lunches.
I've been divorced 3 times, Tony.
Yeah, well, then good. You're good at that conversation. But you know what I mean?
I'm really good at that conversation.
We'll just sit in the malaise, right?
Yeah.
For decades.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And
I think
you got to take
so
care of that
important
stuff.
to, if you're trying to swim out of a pond and you got this weight around your leg and you're paddling for all your dear life, you're never going to make it to the top.
No.
And so sometimes it is the same effect that the group makes you better. A lot of times, like you want to go work out and your partner's like, really? It's Sunday. You want to get up? Oh, come on, honey. You should just like, okay, wonderful, honey. Why don't you rest? And I'm going to go work out.
But it's so much harder when you don't have the support of the other person. It really is.
100%. But what you do is you find people.
But you have your purpose, your plan, and your accountability, your variety, and intensity is the last piece of that equation.
Intensity.
But when you have these rules, like the 10 Commandments, that's had an effect on people. The 12 steps. I wrote a book called The Big Picture: 11 Laws That'll Change Your Life. These are 11 things that I practice on a weekly basis.
Really?
Yeah. And they're just things that sort of came over time, and I figured I might as well write a book about it because they help me. And a lot of people who are sort of stuck in, losing weight, gaining weight, not being consistent, because it's consistency that's everything. 80% of life showing up, the other 20% is paying attention to what's going on when you're there, right? So the books are like, oh, I'll just follow these rules. People love to follow the 3 steps, the 5 plans. Yeah.
Because it gives you a roadmap. Listen,
yeah.
At the end of the day, there are a handful of trailblazers in the world, in science and medicine and music, and the rest of us, and it's not a bad thing, need to follow in suit. Now, along the way, we may break off and do our own thing, but you're following a plan, a map, a road, a breadcrumb.
You model people.
You model people. So why would you reinvent the wheel? So if Tony's telling me as a successful individual that these 12 steps work for me, nah, Tony doesn't know what to fucking know. I'm going to get my own 3 steps. I'm just going to follow Tony's 12 steps because there's steps 11. That I can count. 11. I just added one to it.
Yeah, the bonus step.
Yes.
Yeah. That's in my next book.
The bonus step.
The bonus.
But I think that's very true. I talk about it all the time. I tell that to the patients. I said, if you're going to leave our office and you don't have a plan, it ain't going to happen. Don't go, you know what? That's Dr. Vaughn. Wow, you motivated me. Don't waste my time unless you're going to say, okay, tomorrow morning at 8:00, I'm going to do this for this. It's exactly what you said. And you need that. You need a plan.
You know, the biggest bummer is, and I see this in my industry as well, and I know you see it, and you mentioned about it earlier in maybe the first segment, but people who say, okay, all right, this is it, because making a decision to have plastic surgery is a big decision, especially when it comes, not noses and those types of things, but, you know, when you're dealing with
Big stuff,
like the lower, from the neck down stuff, and you come in and maybe you've committed to losing that 5, 10, 15 pounds, and then you go through plastic surgery and you don't change your behavior, and then 6 months, a year, 2 years later, you look worse than you did before. Like, think about that. I've invested that amount of money,
time, money,
to be with this great doctor, to be able to take care of something, and then I just keep the same old crappy habits. And I've seen that all the time. Like, I do these live events, and I'll see people like, you know, every year I show up in Chicago or Miami, wherever. And I'll see him the first time. I go, man, you look amazing. Wow, how much weight did you lose? 88 pounds, 75 pounds, 55 pounds. And then a year later, wham, they just like, what happened? And the strangest little things trigger it. You know, a breakup, a job loss, you know, whatever it was. Like
destabilizing event.
Well, the reality is that
and then, you know, but if you got a purpose, plan, account, like when things go bad for me, I train harder instead of just blowing it off, because I know it helps speed up my ability to kind of recover from these tougher events.
I think all those things are so valuable. And I think that if people listen carefully, I would write these things down. I really would. I would write them down and I would put them on a window and I would think about it every day. Whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish, it happens to be weight, whether it's nutrition, health, blood pressure, whatever. I definitely think that it will make a huge difference. Tony, you've been like such a superstar for coming and hanging out with me. I know you're busy. It was an honor to have you. And
a delight.
A delight, an honor.
Sometimes you meet people you admired and you're like, that guy's you know, I've met people and I was sorry
about
Guy's
a doorknob.
No, it's happened, right? I bet you've met people.
No, man, I'm a big fan of yours as well. You're just, you know, you're the real deal. What's really nice is, you know, whatever. We've had these discussions of some surgeons just whatever you want, I'll do it. And people end up with these subpar results and you turn people away. You're not a good candidate. You got to lose some weight first. You know what I mean? So you could make more bread, but you just do the right thing. You look out for people.
No,
and that's rare in this world.
No, and I appreciate it. And I love these people. And you surround yourself with like-minded people, and transparency, honesty, showing up, taking accountability, integrity. Those are all the same. They're all based on the same principles. And so there's a reason why I gravitate to you, or you gravitate to me. And what you had said is you want to surround yourself with like-minded people. So we had Molly Sims here earlier. She's awesome. We have other people here. And it's an honor to know you.
Thank you, brother. Likewise.
All right, so wrap it up for us.
I'm going to bring it on home. That concludes our Tony Horton segment of Plastic Surgery Uncensored with your host, board-certified plastic surgeon, Dr. Roddy Raban, and your co-host, Monique Marvez. Thank you so much for listening. Come back for more. Subscribe. Tell your friends about it. Please spread the word. This is a great, not good, great show.